We are revisiting Swordsman Play VR. Both of us are real swordsmen. We fence, we train, we diligently study the blade. Study the blade. Study the blade. And we are gonna hop into Blade and Sorcery VR because it is my favorite VR game. It has, in my opinion, the best application of the physics system. And we are gonna play and see if our real sword techniques work in VR. And the added bonus is, Clark has never played Blade and Sorcery before. In fact, how many times have you played VR?
Like 2 times total for like an hour.
What was the game you were playing?
I don't even know.
You don't even know, was it a sword game?
No.
Okay,
it was
good.
Just like a random
so this is gonna be a lot of fun. So get ready for some shenanigans as we study the blade. So after we spent hours recording this video, I went to start editing it and I noticed that both of the microphones were messed up. One of them wasn't recording during all of the VR scenes, and the other one was peaking really bad during the group scenes. So there's not a lot we could do about it. I've done my best to mitigate it. I hope you guys can get over it. I wanted to post this anyway though because we had a lot of fun making this, so enjoy. Alright, so we just got Blade and Sorcery VR up and running, and we found out that they updated it to the full release, which is cool, but it means all my mods don't work. So no Mega Pack, no Outer Rim, nothing else. We're just gonna be doing vanilla Blade and Sorcery as I fall through the world to my death. Let's just reset this.
Have you tried training your footwork so that doesn't happen?
Alright, we're gonna start off, and we're gonna start off with my boy, the longsword.
Running in this game, it looks so crazy when you can see you. It looks great in game. It looks hilarious when you look at the person doing it. So one of the things that I found that I cannot turn off is if I parry, time slows down, which is super annoying. Because I don't need that! And there's no way to shut it off. Who will challenge me? Are any of you brave enough? Maybe someone... did I not press start? Oh, I didn't press start. I'll cut that out. Will no one challenge me?
Boo boo boo. Boo boo boo. Boo boo.
It's so anticlimactic when they show up and you just kill them immediately.
Hand snipe. Hand snipe. Hand snipe. Them hands. Whoa! Your sword. Pick it up. I'm a very generous combatant. How they did the thing again? That's a lot. I thought I turned blood off! That was a lot of blood. Don't demonetize me, Susan. Uh-oh. Look away.
The slow fall.
Get rid of the evidence! Take the line. She dead. I didn't kill anybody. What are you talking about? She's a... Is she not dead? She's not dead! Well, she's dead. No more evidence. Let's do some rapier. To hold it in this funny grip, it breaks my wrist, so I get the point control I want.
Blade and Sorcery, put in fingering the guard.
Yeah, come on, Blade and Sorcery. First off, this isn't a rapier. Give me my mods back.
That's unfortunate. She's fine, right? Just taking a nap?
That was weird. The physics of that move should have been different, but it didn't quite work. Stop bleeding and getting me dismonetized! Go away. That's sexy. Come on. That's sexy.
Is point control in-game easier or harder than IRL?
Way harder. For some reason, it does not like points in game. Goodbye. Clean up. Clean up. That's unfortunate.
Just one arm. Really gotta hand it to you there.
Oh. Okay. Alright, let's try out, just for fun,
The Montante.
Roof weapon thing.
Can you spawn in like 8 people? Oh!
Hide it! Hide it!
Can you spawn in like 6 people at once?
I can, yeah.
The one perk VR has, you can't bonk yourself on the head with your own quillions. Modders, get on it.
This is so satisfying. Oh, it's too close, too close. It kind of gets jammed up in people.
That's what we saw when we did our own tests.
Alright, Clark, you want it?
Hit me up.
So it's Clark's first turn doing VR. He's about to press the start button. He's about to go.
This is gonna be interesting.
Interesting.
Alright. Start button.
Who wants to challenge me first? Do you guys like him? I saw that.
Oh, I pulled up my... Not having thumb grip is so weird.
I know, it's terrible, isn't it? Devs, if you're watching this, thumb grip.
It is kind of, you can just kind of spam cuts.
You can spam things really easy, but if you try and do real cuts,
Someone's behind me.
try and do a Zwerk. Sucks, doesn't it? Could you?
It's just because you can't.
You can't thumb grip. Yeah.
Everything I do is in thumb grip.
Yeah, Clark's been nerfed.
So you can rotate. No.
You can't. I tried. I've tried so many times.
Hand shots are weird.
Yeah, they don't really work.
Well, hand shots work, but striations don't.
Yeah, striations from underneath
Striation
don't.
is
No.
The money shot. Striation. Don't drop your sword.
You can try the rapier? You're such a good rapierist. Top 100, baby.
What is this wrist? In your offhand.
No, don't try it.
I'm going to. Doesn't work.
Didn't work?
No, it just grabs them. When they get really close, it kind of starts
Yeah.
to bug out. The point control is really weird.
Well, it's because your wrist is at the wrong angle. They need to make it so the rapier faces forward. You can't adjust your grip.
Who's next? So there's a lot of times when I think, oh,
I know, right?
it take a lot of abuse.
I think the rapier does less damage. They just...
He's still not dead yet. What about just a regular arming sword? Arming sword. What?
Did you instantly kill them?
Yeah. Thrust to the face. I'm gonna try
Some spells?
spells. So, what's the best offhand? Is it the shield? No, it's the
It's a fireball. You can also imbue your weapon with an element.
Whoa, this is pretty cool.
Isn't it? They're on fire!
He just immediately died. There's the...
Yeah! You just Palpatine people. Isn't that great?
So much better than a sword or shield. This just in. Best offhand confirmed.
I think you killed them all. Oh, is there another one?
Just dies.
Viewers might be asking why you are spinning with the sword when we say it doesn't work. Can you explain,
That's
Clark?
because they're coming from all angles.
When you got a big sword and a bunch of people, spinning becomes viable.
Can you pummel?
Yeah, I think so. You can Mordschlag. Unless they... I think only the Medieval Mega Mod pack has that. Are you doing it? Did it
That
work?
worked.
There's a lot of pummels. Are you just pummeling with a greatsword now?
Yes. It doesn't really kill them.
Now, we are going to test out to see if our actual techniques will work. Before, we're just kind of screwing around, but we're going to be scientific about this. We're going to test out the longsword first and see if we can get some of our longsword stuff to work. So one of the problems you can see here is we can't do thumb grip. So we're going to start with the basics like Überhau, Unterhau, and other things. So Überhau works, but not as effectively as it should, if I'm honest. See if Zorn works, if I can take their blade to the side. I can, but it doesn't do anything. So I'm supposed to get the bind from here. So like if I strike and thrust, that doesn't work.
I'm gonna start with just basics. Zorn. The slowdown does make it really
Easy.
easy. I mean, the Zorn just works, but it doesn't work as a taker.
No.
I just...
It's only a hitter.
It is interesting how... So Zorn does kind of just work every time. I'm gonna do one... Just hit the walking side. Don't fall down in battle. Okay.
That doesn't work. What about Unterhau? Not well. It doesn't really let you like elongate. Yeah, Unterhau is like pretty useless.
I'm gonna move to some Unters. It's not even getting hit.
Yeah, it doesn't register hits from below.
It did eventually. I mean, it wasn't alright until like prep into thrust. Yeah, Zorn to the head is
More effective.
It is funny how you hit them in the head and they fall down, but they don't stay dead.
I know.
Just die already.
They got thick skulls.
Stay dead.
Alright, so Oberhau's alright, Unterhau's not great. Only thing left is Needles,
It works fine.
which is ironic because IRL, that is probably the worst of the three.
Having a body is very not effective. Do Shenhao.
So the whole point of this Scheidel is you break through their guard over to the head, to the scalp. The engine might not be able to handle that.
I don't think it can't. It really doesn't displace their blade. So I can't press their blade out of the way. One of the biggest problems we're losing is there's no presence to bind. Okay, so the Scheidel works, but only if it's uncontested.
Do you strike into the hands?
Press to the hands.
We throw that cut constantly, all the time.
It kind of worked. Didn't do anything. Hand shots aren't really like. It doesn't specifically affect. It did eventually, but I just killed him. It didn't like take it out of his hands. Like I can hit the hands all day long.
HP pool
Yeah.
versus targeted injuries.
I need to like fully take off. There we go. But like it took that much. I'm gonna try an experiment. Not that. We're gonna turn. Oh, this is awful. I'm gonna drop it too.
The buttons aren't designed to work that way.
I'm gonna turn my hand this way. Oh my god.
Did that work, though?
It works, it's just terrible. Alright, here we go, ready? So now I'm in thumb grip. It's awful, but I'm in thumb grip. It works! Zwerk worked.
Okay, keeps working.
It's stuck inside of her. Oh, I pressed the button somehow. It's really tough to control this, if I'm honest.
The wrist on the screen looks like you're
Yeah, look at this terrible-
crazy.
Debs, let me turn it into... Let me turn it! So the problem is actually extending the wrist out because there's no momentum here. Can I crump her blade?
Crump as a taker.
Okay, I can crump as a taker a little bit. Crump as a taker, hit to the head. So I can crump into a Zwerk, that's pretty effective. Yeah, you can kind of crump into a Zwerk. Try the thumb grip.
The wrist looks so weird. She just, okay. Yeah, the crump doesn't really do much, like...
Just watching you fling it around. See if I can shield. I can. It's weird. So a two-part shield works.
A two-part shield is not a shield, though.
It is. It's just a little slower. I also can't control the joysticks anymore. So I have
Yeah.
to actually, like, I can like block and then shield him afterwards.
I'm gonna shield.
You gotta like shield into his sword and then continue through to his head.
I mean, the shield just killed him. The shield is pretty solid.
I couldn't get it to work as one action. Not when it was actually displacing the sword.
Yeah.
If I'm doing it as uncontested, sure, but if I'm trying to actually get it to displace the sword, it doesn't work.
So far, I've been basically shielding into their hand, and that's been working.
That's fair.
Try some handworks. Try some Zuckin, Mutirin, Duplirin.
I'll try to Zuckin. He won't give me the bind though.
Yeah, all of those come from the bind though, and the game doesn't really like binding.
Okay, so if I catch her, boom, if I catch her in slow motion, I can wind from there, but I'm using the slow motion. This is actually kind of interesting.
Use the slow motion to enable handwork.
If I parry her first, it slows down, and I can then thrust from there. But it's not a game mechanic. Boom, thrust. Yeah, I mean, at that point I could do anything. Somebody with a 3D printer, make me a sword holder for this. I don't know. I can't think of anything else.
I think longsword is particularly hard to simulate here because most of longsword is working from the bind, and this game can't do bind.
Let's try the rapier. So honestly, holding it like this is so much better. Oh my god, this is so much better.
I think one-handed swords would be a lot easier to use in this game.
The slow motion's OP. They can move more than I can, which is annoying. I don't like that their movement is more than real footwork. It messes with distance.
Yeah, they do just kind of, they're out of distance and then they just suddenly teleport into Krieg.
Okay, so Blade and Sorcery, VR, how was it compared to real swordsmanship?
It was very fun.
Very fun.
It in no way replicates actual swordsmanship.
So you can do a few of the techniques successfully. Anything that's just a standard strike, like the peasant strikes work pretty well. So like the Oberhau and Unterhau didn't work for me.
It worked a little bit if you went slowly and really drew through, but that's
You had some success in Mittelhau.
Mittelhau was they're all basically the same thing. If you have a very straight line and I think the big thing is if you have to move both arms. If you do just an actual cut, there isn't enough tracking for it to know. You have to do a full body. You have to like cut wrong, I guess.
When we got into the actual Meisterhau,
developers or
whomever,
or mods. Thumb grip.
Thumb grip. Okay, let me explain this to you. Let me explain this to you. You are locked in this grip, which is a handshake, is a hammer. You're actually locked in hammer grip.
Hammer grip.
You're locked in hammer grip.
Hammer with everything, which one your point is offline all the time.
So this means the most I can extend is to here. When we're sword fighting, we're most often in handshake grip, and you can see the difference here. This is a hammer grip. This is a handshake grip, and it lets me go more forward, but we also switch a lot to thumb grip, which is here, and it is actually vital for a couple of techniques like crump, zwerk, and shield specifically, super vital. So what we ended up doing was like taking the straps off our hands and like holding the controllers by the sides, and so it looked like our wrists were doing, our wrists were like this.
And even with that, you could do the left, the right wouldn't work because the avatar can't bite. The human body can't do that, and the avatar couldn't either.
So I think that if the developers are a mod, here is my suggestion. So you can already press the trigger, so there's the grab button and the trigger button. If you press the trigger, you can slide up and down, but if you grab the trigger and you pressed sideways with the other hand and did this, it could lock into this position, and then fiddle with it so that those specific motions hit better. Maybe they attack in a different way. The other thing that you could do is just have two binding points, one dot here and one dot here. I know it'd be more complicated, but that's like 90% of how this specific sword was used.
Yeah,
like
longsword in particular, I didn't find worked particularly well, but that's also with a caveat of 90% of the time I fight, it's with a thumb grip, and also 90% of the actions you do with the longsword is from the bind, which is kind of impossible to replicate in VR.
Yeah, so another problem we had, grab a sword because of the bind.
Yeah.
Another problem we had with, the Witcher sword, we had with VR is that, we'll be really close here. This is a position that we're normally in, and this is where we have a lot of feedback. So if I press this way, Clark can do something. If he presses that way, I can do something. We can retract, we can do stuff. We're trying to win this bind, but obviously in VR, there's no way to get this feeling. There's a feeling here. I can feel what's happening through the sword. In VR, you can't do that, and if we could do that to the enemy, we'd win every time. What I mean by that is this. So the enemy can actually...
NPC phase.
NPC can't actually press my sword, because even if he did, like, and it did this, my controller would stay here. There'd be no feedback, it'd be funny. If I could do this, that'd be great. I think that'd be fun, but it means that I'd win the bind every time.
Yeah, because you can't have, the only real option an NPC would have is to Zekken off.
Yeah.
But also in VR, like, it'd be impossible to feel that and see
Sense
that.
it, yeah.
So there's no real good way.
There's no way to do the bind.
To do that.
With that said, they implemented this new thing that I don't know if I had a setting messed up or if if it was an ability that I had enabled, but the slowdown thing, at first I was really annoyed by it because every time I even made slight blade contact with the other person, they would slow down to like a crawl, and it was way too easy. But then when I started doing thumb grip stuff in this weird like thing, what I found is you could kind of like half recreate the Meisterhouse by like tapping it and then doing the proper technique, which was interesting, but didn't make me feel very skilled. It mostly made me feel like I was cheating.
I do think that I like that as an option, because if you're going to implement a bind, that's the only real substitute, because all fencing is a lack of time, and that's what makes it hard. So basically, if your opponent is static and by not doing anything, you have infinite time. So that's kind of the only real way that I can think of to alter that, is do any sort of handwork from the bind. It also makes it like super overpowered in every way, because they slow down and you can do whatever you want.
I mean, I remember when I had a rapier and they had like an arming sword, and I would like tap it over here and it would slow down. Like, so I'll just grab this. Take your longsword. Take your longsword. It was basically this. We'd be here and I go, and they would freeze, and I was like, what? Okay, so let's move on to the rapier, because we also did some stuff with the rapier. I found that the rapier combat at first was terrible because, well, first off, blade and sorcerer, that's not a rapier, that's like a glorified small sword. But you hammer grip it like this, so your wrist is like this, and I'm trying to like
online. What's that?
I can't. This is the best I can do. Rapier specifically has these rings so that I can bring it into this very forward guard. Sometimes I'll switch between this and this. I will very rarely go to a hammer grip. But in this, I can cut very well in this handshake grip. But this forward grip is what I want. So what ended up happening is when we took the guard off and just held it loosely, all of a sudden it became so much better. I had like, my wrist was bent at the most disgusting angle, but I was murking fools. You got anything on rapier?
Rapier was, so I think any sort of one-handed sword would be way easier to replicate, because they generally work from the bind less. It's also, one thing with the longsword was weird is that our hands are independent.
No hands.
And it's like, what would be cool is if you had a sort of attachment that was like a circle and you could put it onto an actual sword hilt or something. That would be
cool. If any of you modders out there, you 3D makers, have a sword, stick, staff thing for both the Quest 3 and the Quest 2, we'd love to try it out. I'm 1000% down. We're gonna make more videos.
It'd be cool if we had a whole like Wii U line for the Oculus, because they had all like the Wii U guns and the Wii U swords. Do that for the Oculus, or
I know they have them for single-handed ones. They have them for Beat Saber, so you can have long, but that doesn't help us.
Yeah, but that idea. There's a lot to work with there, and it'd be super cool.
So, with all of that said, did you have fun?
It was a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Was it realistic?
Not two-handed. With one-handed, it gets better. A little bit better.
Do you want to do it again?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay, so we're gonna do some more VR content. Next time we'll try a bunch of different VR games and tell you which one we think has the best physics. So until next time, If you like this video or any of our other videos, please consider supporting our channel on Patreon. Support from viewers like you is incredibly important. It takes a lot of time, money, and effort to produce content like this, and we're able to do so because of the viewers like the ones you're seeing on the screen. So please consider helping us out.